Okay, good morning everyone. I've got to do a few little tests this morning as we've been having some funny little sound issues this morning, yesterday and the day before even. So I may take a little bit longer getting started. We are a bit late starting as I've been messing around trying to make sure that the sound is working today. Hopefully what I've done has got it working. Just posting to Facebook. Guess they're just finishing up. Nearly there, guys. Sorry it's taking a bit longer than usual. Go. Okay, we are shared to Facebook. Having a pretty good time. Okay. I may get interrupted partway through because we'll be doing a sound check. Making sure it stays up, as it hasn't been recently. Got a few more little bits to get ready. Hopefully watching my Wonder Arab trim the hedge is something you like watching at the beginning. I don't think there's a better way of starting the stream really than looking at that little Wonder Arab. We're nearly there. Nearly there. So much setup to do this, I have no idea. That's without putting all the equipment out. Because I've managed to forget things today. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I'm going to do a bit more with the flag again today. At some point we have to reapproach jumping too, as that's been off our schedule for a little while. Might do that today. I have much less of a plan today. I'm a little bit on a time schedule, which always seems to be the way. He's just had the best ride ever yesterday, where he was really chill at the walk for the first time. And I think I might have said before, we could have pushed for more out of that day, but he was so relaxed in that walk. You know, we really want riding to be a relaxing thing, not something we get amped up about. So yeah, to have him figure that out and kind of go, yeah, that's okay, I don't need to worry about that. Even though I think he now believes that riding is a walking thing, where you just walk, and we have to now break that little assumption and explain to him that actually walking does involve trotting and cantering and jumping and all sorts. I'm glad that we have the relaxation at the walk. You know, that's far more important than any other assumptions he may have picked up as a result of I say this because when I was watching the video back yesterday of yesterday's walk, he was more nervous at the top, and it had the feel to me of a horse going, well, I can't get away if there's something scary up there, so I'm going to avoid it. Not, I'm actually afraid of the things that are up there. So I think he was very much trying to keep himself at the walk, and felt that if he was at the top, he couldn't guarantee it, so he was getting more nervous at the top and less nervous down the bottom, as in up the top, as in where I am now by the mirrors. But as you can see, he's really confident with it on the ground, which to me suggests that he's not afraid especially, he's just unsure if he'll be able to escape from predators. You've cut your nose in the night. How have you done that? It's only tiny for anyone that's worrying, but how have you managed that, you know? Anyway, having said all of that interesting, hopefully interesting, educational stuff, I need to say these videos are not intended to be a how to start your young horse set of videos. We are trying to show what it takes to get a horse ready to go to a show. A sensitive horse like him as well. That finds even his tail scary sometimes. Yeah, so I want to show what it takes to get a horse to what Puff's doing, hopefully. The goal is by November we'll be doing what me and Puff normally do at a show, with the confetti cannons and fire and everything, but we'll see. We have high expectations, and we accept much lower. We reward the smaller things, if the smaller things are all we're able to manage. Hello, kiddo. Run away. Have to escape. Come here, Lollipop. Get your nose out of the hedge. Come here. I'm going to put your halter on. You notice how when I step up, he doesn't immediately think, oh God, Jamie's going to make me work. I really want this from my horses. I don't want to come up and have them think that they're going to be trained. Right? Good boy. I want him to think like, it's just Jamie coming over. We're going to have some fun maybe later, but that I'm not just here to take him away from his food. And this is where I may be different if I was doing a how to train your young horse video, because I would be very strict in a training a young horse video, where with my own horses I'm far more laid back. Because if something goes wrong, or if it causes an issue, letting him eat, if he starts to become disrespectful as a result, I have the tools and tricks to fix it, and I like the benefits so much, right? Where when we're working on a how to train your young horse video, and when I'm working with your horse, if you send your horse for training, you'll find I'm much more like, nope, these are the rules, you follow the rules. Because if I'm the person who establishes the rules, and then I give your horse back and you make the rules, you keep the rules but make them slack, your horse is going to like that. Your horse is going to much prefer having you come and work with them and not be wishing that they still had me as a partner. Whereas when I'm working with my horse, I really want him to go, I want to do stuff with Jamie. I want to work for him. You'll hear me say that, which is a little bit of an unnatural horsemanship tends to like to use the word game and make it fun for the horse. But there are certain things we have to do with our horse that are work related. Right? There are things the horse does not want to do that we expect the horse to be able to do. And so there is definitely an element of your horse has to work for you. You have to go to work. Having said that, we try to make anything educational or anything that is that he has to learn, we try to make that fun and interesting and more of a game, rather than the sort of working horse. Right? I feel like there is a balance that has to be struck. And depending on your goals, you can change that balance. Horses like him, I feel, and Puff as well, require you to have the right balance, which is where you may find that you have the wrong horse for your job. A lot of what I do in demonstrations and shows is actually off the cuff. I just make it up as I go along. I have a general plan, much like when I'm training, but it's not like a dressage test. I can cut things and skip things. For example, I did a big show where I came out of a trailer full of smoke, and because of the way we came out of the trailer, Puff had too much energy because I missed a beat and asked him to go forward when the trailer was still closed, and he got worried because he couldn't move because there was a door in the way, and there was so much smoke in that trailer he couldn't see, so he literally was blind and walked into a door, and it was my fault, right? So I ended up doing my canter section, which was the bit where we had to just canter round and round and round. I did my canter section differently, where we just kept cantering, because he'd come out with too much energy, and so we had to just go round and round and round and round. We had to do like 10 laps. Instead of just 1 or 2. Because the goal of the demo was to do 2 laps of bridleless and then bridleless cantering, and then come in and do some slower work and then a slide stop and all these other things that we do all the time. But due to the trailer, we came out a bit more like a firecracker, and so when we came to the bridleless canter section, he had too much energy, and it ended up leading towards... You gonna stop dragging behind me? Yeah. I know why you do it, so you can sneak those nips in, but I need you at my shoulder so I can watch you if you're going to be like that, huh? So yeah, my demos are way more laid back than most, which means I can have a much more loose, relaxed way of being with my horse, which I really like, because I'm not naturally a detail-orientated person. It's something I have to work hard on, to focus on the details. I naturally just want to be like, whatever, take the bridle off and we'll deal with it. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. And it's part of my development to get better at that, right? Ooh, you are a bit stiff this morning. Hey? You've been playing too hard in the field. Hey? Or was it all those canter circles we did with you the other day? Hey? So for anyone who hasn't watched these streams before, this is the warm-up section. And basically I spend a long time on warm-up. I do not want my horse, particularly my sensitive, delicate little Arabian, I do not want him straining himself during this. I'll often jog with him around the outside. Dear. Oh dear. What's all that about? Wet. But before we do anything exciting like jumping or bucking under saddle, I really want him to have warmed up well. And the coughing, quite a lot of horses cough when you warm them up, and it's them getting air into the deeper part of their lungs. And you'll find that a well-trained horse will come out like him, where they walk pretty patiently, and they come out and trot, and they're not in a mad rush, right? Because they know this is not, I've got low energy, this is a low energy section of the session where we just go around for a bit. It's a job, you don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. The same way as when I go for a swim, I have to stretch, or I have to do a few lengths that are not intense, or if I go for a run, I tend to start steady, and I build myself up, get my heartbeat going. If you do any kind of workout of any kind, you'll find that they always have warm up, stretch, warm up, go. And so this is what we're doing here. This is purely a muscle thing. Whereas a lot of the other exercises we do are mentally stimulating, this is meant to be physically stimulating. I also don't worry about how he carries himself on these circles. So if he's got his nose to the outside or anything like that, because it's not about that, right? It's not about having perfect posture. And I said I wasn't mentally stimulating, and then I moved into a mentally stimulating exercise. Extra trainer points for Jamie there. There you go. Good. So I asked him to move out a bit wider. He got confused and thought it was a forward cue. They look quite similar, right? But I just want to walk. But I want you to walk out there. Good. Walk. Good. He got confused by what my cues meant, right? And so the pressure increased, but it increased so that he could figure out where he was supposed to be, right? Not because he was in trouble, but because he jumped into a big energetic trot, so I had to have an energetic phase to help him understand. When doing this, you have to have very clear communication, right? So this is go forward, right? There's no confusion. This is slow down. This is slow down. This is go forward. Go forward. Go forward. This is slow down. This, yes. And then this is move over. Yes. You see how he's not confusing those cues now? They're all different. My posture is different in each one. Oh, you're so fabulous, though. Quite often on Pop does this where he learns something new and needs to move his feet. That's okay, I don't always allow it. Good. What I didn't like about that was the way he tried to find the exit first. What I did like was that once he stopped trying to find the exit, good boy, he started trying to find the middle. So I've said before, jumping is going to be one of his challenges. He's very prancy, very up in the air, carries his head high, doesn't often think down to his feet. You don't often need to, do you? They're so fabulous. So we always kind of knew that thinking over a jump was going to be challenging for you, big kid, didn't we? Or was it terrible? Do you have to think really hard? Thank you. I believe the sound is still working, which is good. At least I can see it on the computer monitor from here. I can see the little sound thing moving. So hopefully it's not my... What I think was happening before was it was using the speaker from my computer. You have the sweetest little nose. You know that? You've got the cutest little nose. God, wonder herb. Hey. Little lollipop. Hey. Right. What do you think, big kid? If you guys are watching this and you get any questions come up in your mind, you can comment on the Facebook post or you can comment on the YouTube. If you do make any comments, could you please try and put a timestamp if you have a specific why did you choose this over this, or Why did you decide to use that technique instead of this technique? If you have anything like that, try to put the time stamp on the video so I can go back and watch what you're watching, and I can go, oh yeah, I did do that, and maybe just go, yeah, your idea was better, and it was just a in the moment choice that actually I should try and do differently next time. Or I might have a very specific reason why I decided to do one thing or another, and I may just have been too distracted by the rain. We're Arabians, we don't do the rain. At least I got the saddle on your back before your back got wet, hey? Turn your butt to it. There you go. No, stop there, don't wriggle anymore, because you'll just make the rain go in your face if you wriggle more. I actually really like that. And I know we don't want our horse to move when we're saddling, but it shows a different level of competence that he's not just stood frozen, not thinking about his saddle, that he kind of went, do I have to stand with my face to the rain while you're doing this? You know, it shows another level of understanding. I know, it's a little tighter, but it has to be tight, otherwise it falls off when you prance. You can't have back. How am I supposed to stay on if the saddle falls off while you're prancing? I'm sorry, I'm not yet a good enough bareback rider to sit that prance. Have you seen how much your back moves when you prance? It's a lot. You know, like a lot. You know, there's a lot of prance. It's a lot of prance. You know, it really is. You're spoiled. You are. Again, no, not an educational how to train your young horse video. My horses are spoiled rotten. I'll ruin them. No, with the wriggling. That's just wriggling for the sake of me tightening the girth. That's different. But at least you're not afraid. Or as afraid, if you were. That's the thing, is it shows the fact that he feels he can communicate to me that he doesn't like something that's going on, suggests that he's more confident with the whole process, which is really good because he's been really unconfident. Although he's looked fine, he's quite good at internalizing his problems. Hey, aren't you? You're very wonderful. I'm going to have a quick drink, kiddo. More caffeine needed. Hey, 5 horses, a livery yard, 2 children, and a educational horse business. 2 businesses, 2 children, 5 horses, 2 dogs, a floofy cat. Adds up, you know? It adds up. Right. I've just had a low battery warning on my speaker, on my talking thing, so if I suddenly go off, that's probably what's happened. Sorry, kiddo, I've itchy eye. Oh, lollipop. Well, we've been doing this part of the warm-up at Liberty. Do you want to do it at Liberty? Oh, I don't know. This rain, man. Hey? This rain, it sucks. Hey? You're walking way more confidently in that, aren't you? Hey? Which is really cool to see. It's so nice to watch them go from, you know, unsure of something, that confidence grow. It's what I do it for. You know, watch the horse understand. Oh, was there a pole? Oh, it's terrible. Oh, such a funny little Arab, aren't you? Good boy, Wallop. Oh, you're so sweet. Hey. Such a sweet boy. This is where it gets hard. Do I want to make you work hard in the rain? Yes, come on. We've got a show to do. Hey, you want to amaze people with your prancy fabulousness. It can be so much easier when the horse is wild and really wants to go and do something. You can just be like, yeah, let's go do something. You've got a horse that's like, do we have to? It's really wet. I'm really cute. I just want to cuddle in a scratch instead. Come on. Still not as confident in the trot. What is that little prancy trot? It means, oh, good deflection as well in the rain. Oh my word. Stop it, you're teasing me. Oh, you just move so beautifully, don't you, hey? Even when you're tense and worried, you move beautifully. And I say that because he is a little tense there. I don't know whether it's just the rain or what. You can see like his back end is sort of hunched under a bit. He's not confidently stretching that hind end. Yeah, there's our little bit of tension. Go on. You're alright, big kid. He's not bad, right? Like it's not the end of the world. I really want him to get completely okay with all this clumsiness, so that when we do switch to an English saddle, I'm just not worrying about accidentally bumping him or anything like that. He's so sensitive, but he needs to learn to be a little bit less sensitive to these things, to the clanking stirrups and the tassel touching his side and stuff like that. Like there is never going to be a point in his life where I want him to react with that type of tension. I may want him to react that quickly. I might want him to turn really fast, but I never want him to turn out of like a jumpy fear, right? I want that tail to be relaxed the whole time, and I want those feet to take long, soft steps, and I want that neck to be relaxed even if it's high. I want to be able to see that neck muscle moving, and right now you can see how that lower neck muscle's all tense and he's trying not to move his back too much because he's not trusting it, and yeah, but it'll get there. We'll get there. It's not bad. I tripped over that. It's like a bit larger bit of carpet in our surface. It seems to have risen up from the bowels. To get rid of that, hey? We both tripped over it. And it will just come with time, right? As he feels the saddle more and gets to know more and more about this saddle, he'll get more and more confident with it. And I imagine I will be switching to an English saddle in a few weeks here. You know, once we're okay with this, right? And you're still just like, it touches me funny. I don't like it. Touching me funny. Show me that wonderful canter of yours. That's your wonderful extended trot. Come on. Oh, that's good. That was really good. That's the best you've ever done that. Ooh, that's your tail. That wasn't the saddle, that was actually your tail, kiddo. A little bit longer. That's it. That's it. Oh, that's better. Hey, we'll end on that one. Why not? Oh, prance machine. He's so prancy, huh? Hello. You did really good. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Come on. Come on. I know, you're still not sure about it, are you, hey? It's alright. Hey? I know. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that the saddle is not a perfect fit. And that He'll be better when he's in a saddle that fits perfectly. Sensitive creatures, aren't you? You and both your brothers. Hey? I swear all of my Arabs know how a saddle should fit before they've ever had one on. Don't you? Honestly, it's so delicate. You expect nothing less, do you? Go. Hey? Well, we're rapidly running out of time, Lollipop. And I know that I probably shouldn't rush to get on you, but I really want to have another little walk on you today. Because the more times we can do that little walk, the better. Again, I only really have until 11:30. So, do you think maybe I could see a canter in this rain? Hop up, spend 5 minutes up on your back, hop off, be done? What do you reckon? My goal for today was to think about maybe pushing him a little bit in the ridden work. But I really don't want to this is like a conundrum of being a horse trainer. You end up on a time schedule and you've got a horse that could be pushed, but repetition would also help, because repetition always helps. And with my horses, it always ends up seeming to be that I end up doing repetition because I don't want to have to get stuck in a situation where I'm halfway through something and I have to end. I know a lot of trainers are just extremely late, and I'm late a lot of times as well, so I don't exactly get this balance right. Certainly if I'm teaching a lesson, I won't quit until I've got it. What is that doing in my arena? But might be part of the fence. But same time, you have to push things, right? You've got to progress, otherwise you won't move on. Your horse won't improve. And worse than that, if you don't progress, it's not like the motion stops, you just end up going backwards. Horses don't stop improving and changing, they just are either getting better or they're getting worse. You know? If you leave them on the right note, you know, that you do the right, you finish on the right note, you'll leave them for a few days and they'll come back better. Leave them on the wrong note and they'll go the wrong way, get worse. Attaboy. Do you see a little gallopy? Wild Arabian? Good boy. I know. Look at how fabulous you are. Oh dear. I know I left the bridle on there today, just to add to your worries. I know, I'm going to keep tying things to your saddle. I know. There we go. Go forward. Go forward. Go, 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 go. Let's ride you, shall we? Hey. Hey. I'm so proud of you. Funny boy. I know. It's very important, you know, when you're doing that go forward, you're not mad at him, right? He doesn't know that bucking is a bad thing. He doesn't, I mean, he's sort of starting to get it. That it's not really what we want. But, you know, even after he threw me off the other day, which, yes, my ego is still smarting from that because I really shouldn't have. But even after that, he wasn't in trouble. Right? It wasn't his fault. And he needs to feel that from you. He needs to genuinely understand, I'm not mad at you for that. That was my fault. I'm mad at myself, right? Try to really, it can be hard to explain that, but be like, this isn't on you, dude, if you don't get it, it's on me. And it can be so easy to blame the horse for things. You know, but he's trying his best all the time. It's not like humans. Horses are always doing the best they can with the information they got, because they don't have the ability to consider what they're doing, right? We have the ability to go, well, is this fair? Should I be in this situation? The horse doesn't get any of those thoughts. Right? The horse just goes, this isn't what happened before, or this is what happened before. And when I did this before, I had a positive result, or I had a negative result, right? So if I go to catch him and he runs off, and then he gets to eat grass for 3 hours, he got a positive result. So he goes running off equals positive. If I got bucked off and then, you know, shouted at him, he'd go, well, riding equals tension. And what I tried to do when I got bucked off the other day was, that doesn't change anything, right? You still have to do the walking thing. I'm going to get straight back on you and we'll just, as if nothing happened, carry on. Because it wasn't your fault. Yeah, but telling him off's not going to necessarily, he could completely see that as, well, when the human comes off they attack me, so, you know, don't let the human on in the first place. Seen that enough times. Human becomes a scary thing. We don't want that, ever. I want him to respect me, I want him to listen when I have something to say, and I'll often swing the pendulum too far the other way, where it's a bit like we're a bit too matesy, and I need to remind him that actually I have to be in charge, because when things go wrong, that's my job to fix these things for you. And that's why I have to be in charge. When you get afraid of something, it's my job to tell you whether you should or shouldn't be afraid. But yeah, try not to say no. Try to save your no's for when you really mean them. So often we just say no out of, I wouldn't say habit, but just out of rote. You know, it's like, don't do that. Don't say that. Don't think that way. Don't stand there. It's like, does it actually really matter if he fidgets a little bit? Probably not. Probably be fine, right? We're not overly worried about it. If you have a little wriggle lollipop, hey, we're not overly worried about it. I don't mind making, for me, I don't mind getting on being a treat thing. Maybe it's a bit over the top. It could be a treat thing. There are worse things for it to be. Oh, lollipop. Oh, that left leg. Give me trouble again. There we go. Home sweet home. Oh. If anybody's watched this far, put in the comments. Do you get that? You sit in a saddle and it just all feels good. It's like the back just gives. Legs go soft. Hands on the reins. Heartbeat. Oh. It's heaven being up here, I tell you. I don't think everybody feels it the same way. No, I don't think everybody does. I don't think it's a bad thing either. I don't think you have to feel that when you get on. I think it helps. It helps with your motivation to keep going, because it's hard. There's so many rules. There's so many things that can go wrong, right? You gotta love it. Just absolutely gotta love it. Every minute of it. Hey? It's just the best, hey? You guys are just the best. We're just jealous that we don't get to canter like you. That's the whole thing, you know? We just wish we were like you. Both legs are going to go on. I'm just going to see. See if you remember what that means. Good thought. Backup's a good thought, though. It's not quite what I wanted, though, is it? I'm going to give you a little wiggle. I know, I've not done a little wiggle yet. Now, some of you might kind of go, hang on. Jamie, you were trained by Pirelli. A little wiggle? What's a little wiggle about? There you go. Because when we study Pirelli, if you have studied with Pirelli, you'll know that he does that when he wants to back up. Me and Lollipop are at the stage where I can't really touch his flank, right? And if you study Pirelli, you'll know that the next phase after legs going on would be to touch the flank, right? Tap the bum, touch the flank, all that type of stuff to encourage a forward motion. We're going to move away from the flag that made you buck on day 3 or whatever it was. If you study under Buck Brannaman at all, he uses the vibration of the legs to go forward, right? Instead of as a backwards cue. Hello, you see me out that eye? It's just me. What I need with Lollipop is for the legs to have more meaning, right? At the moment, he doesn't get that the legs mean something. Especially as I've just spent all this time going, hey Lollipop, you know those legs, those stirrups that bash you in the side, just ignore those, right? Now I'm trying to teach him that this specific movement means forward, and then I'm just guiding him with left and right with the reins, yeah? Over time, I want to get to where I can say left and right with the legs, and I can say front end, hind end, and I can say back up, and I can say all sorts of other stuff. Who was that horse on the road? Who was that? It's another pony. But before I can do that, you have to have a consequence, right? For him not listening. And he needs to not be afraid of that consequence. At this point, where he's still quite sensitive about things over here, you see how he had to look? It got his attention. Where other things I've done have not got his attention, right? He's still sensitive. I don't want to be reaching back and putting myself in a more vulnerable position to tap his bum. So instead, I just make it uncomfortable. I go legs on, and he goes, I don't really think that's a problem. And I go, you have to do something. You can't just ignore that. You've got to do something when you feel that. The legs go on, you've got to do something, because they'll get worse. What Pirelli did in the flapping legs is they made the backup have a consequence, because the flapping legs would tap the shoulder as close to in front of the drive line as you can possibly get whilst riding and using your legs, right? It's hard when using your legs to tap in front of the drive line, so that when you're bridleless and you pull on that string and they don't respond, you have a something, right? You have a means to tell them off, essentially. Oof, that was a sudden stop. So I'm just now beginning to really get down like, this means forward, not backwards. Good. And that I can tell you, just like I do on the ground, I can tell you where to go. But I couldn't do this while he was afraid of me. I couldn't do this while he was afraid of me up here. I had to first get to that point where the fear was much, much less, right? Because if he's afraid of me and then I start doing things, giving him consequences, I know we both tripped over that, didn't we? We both tripped over that. That was terrible, wasn't it, that we both tripped over that? Hey? That was terrible that we both tripped over that. And walk forward. Attaboy. So, Lollipop avoids rounding into the saddle a lot on the ground. And so there he just rounded into the saddle with me on his back and just went, oh my God, I think I have to worry. It's like, no you don't. It's all good. Now this time I was better balanced for it. When you got me off, I was just out of position, wasn't I? Go forward. Go forward. Attaboy. Hey. I've got a terrible habit of looking down at them. I know it. I know I shouldn't, right? But look at his little, his mate, so cute. Oh, I'm still like a 12-year-old riding my first pony. That may have been almost 20 years ago, but actually my maths is horrifically off. It wasn't quite that long ago, but I can't help it. I've still got that little boy in my head going, but look, it's a pony. He's got the cutest little ears. There we go. And I imagine we're going to get a few more of those little moments where he gets nervous about something or whatever. Move forward. Attaboy. Keep your walk for a little bit longer. We're going to get that more and more. It's just going to fade. It'll fade to where it's like a brace of the tail instead of a full-blown panic runoff that we're getting at the moment. I can't bend my neck while walking that way. I know. It's tough, isn't it? He locks his neck to the left because he's more confident seeing me out of this eye. So when he's walking, he tends to, even though he's walking to the right, he has a little bit of a tendency to keep his nose slightly to the left. There, he's doing it there. It's only minor. That's better. It's only minor, but we need to start working on it. Otherwise, it's going to become a pattern where we walk counter-bent, and that's really not acceptable, obviously, for obvious reasons. But we're not going to, again, we're not going to do it in such a way that he feels like he's being punished or trained. I want to just bend into a stop on this side 9 times out of 10. It doesn't help that my McCarthy rein is set up to mount on the left. I need to do more mounting on the right. Riding in this bridle setup makes it's a lot easier and safer to get on from the left. But I'll just have to tie the reins on and get on from the right a few times in a row to help with this. Forward one more time. Lollipop. Forward. Yeah, I know. I can actually kick a lot harder than that. I know. Oof. I won't though. My God, I won't though. That way. Sensitive little boy, aren't you? We have to go through this though, right? We have to go through these moments of tension. And he has to realise, like, it's okay, right? These things happen and nothing's actually happening to you. It's okay, right? But we need to do it in such a way, like if I'd gone to the more traditional Pirelli way of getting a horse forward, where I slap the rope either side of myself and then eventually slid it down towards tapping his bum, which, if you've ever seen it, that's the way Pirelli would teach it, to create motion behind the drive line to get forward. Hello. I think it would have just been too much, because even just this is a lot for him, right? Seeing the rope move in my hands is still quite a lot for him. And it's interesting because obviously he's done all of the swinging the string over his back, he's seen the flag on the ground, but this is just like another weird thing that he's had to get used to. Rope around has helped him a bit with the saddle on, but I think it's just like he was able to do all of those things individually and then you put them together and it's a bit too much. So we just got to keep working on it, we just got to keep going. Let me get some semblance of a circle, not just I'm going to start thinking about maybe I'm going to position myself like I'm circling and just let you start to feel what that feels like. There's that, feel that swing coming now. Oh, the hips are given. Oh, yes. Oh, I love it. I love everything about riding. Oh, it's in my blood. Anyone who doesn't know my my little backstory, my mum was adopted in Edinburgh by an accountant's family, so it's about as non-animal people as you can get. And she was the want a pony, horse mad, can I have a dog, can I have a gerbil, can I have a no, did some riding lessons but was never allowed an animal really. I think they had a cat. I forget the story exactly. I'm going to talk about it in the comments if she wants to. But after all of this, she moved down to Herefordshire and married my dad, and they got a little farm and they got horses, and she has dogs, and you know, I had guinea pigs and had me and all the rest of it, and I got into horses because she had a little cob cross Arab that would bolt, and I got my first horse was a little Arab, and little chestnut Arab. And we had fun adventures, and I see I've gone massively over time again. And yeah, we had the great time, and I've lost where I was going with this. Oh yeah, so she she discovered that her original family, after many years, her adopted family all passed, and she kind of went, I really want to know a bit more about my past now, where I came from, because obviously they didn't tell her where she'd come from. She'd been adopted out of wedlock, so she'd been born out of wedlock, so in those days that was, you had to be rehomed. And she discovered that her original family were all farmers from Herefordshire, so she had moved from Edinburgh back to Herefordshire and got horses, started riding, only to discover that her roots were in Herefordshire, and that her great-grandfather used to deliver food on a horse-drawn carriage to market, and that was, so it's in our blood, it's in me and my mum's blood, we can't help it. Nothing we could do about it. Had to have a horse. Had to be done. Just live in very different worlds now. Maybe I should be a farmer with a horse-drawn carriage, I don't know. Love driving as well as riding. Anyway, well, that's day 12. Really good, Lollipop. Really proud of you for that. Just each day building a little bit more on what we've done. You can see from day one, like, the confidence just growing in what's happening. We're starting now to be able to communicate with him up there, and he's not just exploding immediately, which I know sounds like, well, of course he wouldn't just explode immediately, but he would. If we'd done this still quicker, he would have had exploding immediately every time I put my leg on or did anything. The confidence had to grow. In the saddle and in me being up there, the confidence had to grow to the point where I could start pushing things and saying this means this, and this means this, and this means this, beyond just yanking on the halter, on the bridle. Because he knew that, the bridle work, he knew from just his groundwork, right? His normal groundwork taught him about what listening to the bridle meant. What it didn't teach him so much is legs, and like legs forward especially being the most confusing, and back up will be the other confusing one. I can teach him a little bit to move away from the leg on the ground. He knew that the legs meant something straight away, because he could feel that same energy that you get when you push a horse on the ground. But it just wasn't, you can't really simulate legs on the ground. You can do a lot of things that are similar or have similar attributes, but it's very hard to get an exact simulation of legs on the ground. And so he was just a little confused by that. He's starting to get more and more confident with it. Aren't you, big kid? Hey? Getting better and better each day, aren't you? I know. No more sweeties. You've been spoiled. Already. I can see it. Yes. They're not a given. Just because you've been a good boy, doing well, and spoiled. Are you getting spoiled on me? Can't have a spoilt Arabian on my hands, can I? No. Give you head scratches. Do a head scratch. I'm dying to give you a head scratch. Oh. Is it terrible? What else happened? Oh no, they didn't, did they? They didn't do that, did they? No way. Awesome. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed today. I had a lot of fun. I hope the audio worked properly as it's supposed to. And I will see you all tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll just keep going. Like I said, my goal will be to be able to tap his bum by the end of the week, have him understanding those aids, while still just gradually getting more and more confident. Who knows, we might even ask for our first trot. I don't know. There's a big difference between getting a trot like I did today, where he just got a bit spooked and I let him trot, and asking for a trot is quite a different thing altogether. So yeah, we may ask for our first trot by the end of the week, I don't know. He's absolutely wonderful though, I'm so proud of him. Just building it a little bit each day. Right, turn the stream off. Thank you guys again, and we will see you tomorrow.